About the running recap of the Glory Days 5K, which is at the Portage Invitational that they put on every single year. And, it's just a great event to partake in. I mean, I took part in the Portage Invitational when I was in high school. I only got to run it 3 out of the 4 years because one year I actually had a knee injury that I was dealing with. And so I love going back running the Glory Days 5K, which is meant for former cross country runners and coaches and alumni as well. So I mean, it's just great to partake in it, run on this course again, and be able to wear spikes as well and participate in a cross country race because now that I'm out of high school and I have been for 9 years now, or 8 years. 8 years I've been out. did the math a little wrong there. Since I've been out 8 years now, there's not like a lot of cross country races. I mean, not a lot of trail races that I see and that I partake in. Usually, it's mostly road races. So it's just great to be able to partake in this and run in this event. So this was my number for today. 8783 was my number. Just great being able to participate in it. Last year, I had like a disastrous moment at this race. I ended up arriving fairly early, but got caught up in traffic and trying to park and didn't even get to get my stuff until it was like 10 minutes before the race. So I'm like sprinting to get my stuff, sprinting to the start line, and I had like no energy for the race and ran it like in 25 minutes. It was like one of my worst races I've ran since I've been out of high school. It was still fun to be there and partake in the event, but just running a bad race just kind of left a little bad taste in my mouth. And plus I locked my keys in my car, so I had to like wait there for like hours before I ended up being able to get my keys out of my car. Someone coming to rescue me. Thankfully that was my mom that was able to get there. But this year, like, they changed it around so like they wouldn't have traffic coming both ways and trying to park. They made it so you can only go one way in, which is a lot better. Here's the shirt for the race. Glory Days 5K. It's a green shirt. I liked the navy blue shirt they had and like the pink red type color that they had, and here's like the sponsors on the back. I mean, shirt's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a nice design and everything, but I just the green on it's not my kind of color really. I mean, I'm more of like a blue red type of yellow, more of the brighter colors rather than or blue's not that bright, but the dark blue, like the navy blue, those kind of colors. And that green just, it doesn't do it for me, but I mean, obviously I'm going to keep the shirt. I mean, no big deal there. So Kathleen and I ended up getting to the race probably about an hour before it started, so that was good. So I was able to grab my stuff pretty quickly. I mean, we were there when it was like almost still dark out. I mean, the sun hadn't actually came above the horizon yet. So I went out and jogged the course, familiarized myself with it again. Talked with a guy named Adam, who was the coach at the Aviation Academy, and he said he was trying to run in like the 16s, and so that was like way faster than me. So I wasn't obviously going to try to keep up with him, but I mean, I wished him good luck before the race, and we saw each other actually in the starting chute, anyways. So I did that, warmed up. Got my spikes on, which were lime green. I like that. If that was a lime green shirt, I think it would have been better. But like my spikes were like lime green, have some orange in there, have some blue in there. So nice, like bright colors to them. So, they played the national anthem beforehand. The fog had burned off, so the sun had come out. It was a nice, cool morning. So, I didn't sweat a whole lot during the race. I had plenty of water. So, I mean, it was just nice and cool this morning. So, I was, able to get out there and not have to worry about, getting dehydrated, sweating a whole lot and getting out of my eyes. My nose didn't run a whole lot, which that typically happens a lot during races, but this one, it didn't really do that. So, gun went off at 8:15 and sprinted out the gate as fast as I could and then eased into my pace. And right at the start, like in the first quarter mile, you have a slight downhill, and then you follow it up by an uphill. It's not too much of an uphill. It's probably about 100-meter climb, I would say. and then you follow that by like it just kind of flattens out a little bit at the top. And I took the hill a little slower than what I wanted, but I mean I got to the top, I crested the hill, picked my pace back up, and then followed around a turn, took a nice downhill, which I think I actually run the uphills better because downhills I think I'm always afraid I'm gonna just like lose my footing and tumble, which is kind of why I think I run those a little bit slower. But I went down the hill as fast as I could, and then we ran along the woods, and nice crowd support too. Everybody's cheering everybody on, and I heard Kathleen cheering me on, and I was able to. And they said that you could actually request songs before the race too. So I told Kathleen, "Hey, can you go have them play Roar by Katy Perry during the race?" So, anyways, back to the race. We're going around the turn by some tennis courts. And by the way, this race takes place at Portage West Middle School too. So, I mean, if any of you have ever been there and know the place, they got a nice big open field, and that's where you ended up starting before you kind of, go along the woods. And actually, for seeing the race, if you're a spectator, you can actually see most of the race too. Unlike some cross-country races where you see them start and then you don't see them again until like the finish. This one you could see them start, watch them go up the hill, watch them come down the hill, run across, see them come out of the woods, do it all over again, go back to the finish line. Yeah, I mean, it's just a great place for spectators to see it as well. So we're going along the woods, and we're on the back side of the course now, where there's not too much crowd. So, and at this point, I'm in a pretty good sized pack of runners, but I'm in the tail back of it. And I was trying to keep myself up with this pack of runners most of that first mile. And we ended up going up another uphill, followed by a downhill, and then another uphill. And this wasn't as big as that first one. So this is, not that steep. And the first hill isn't really that steep either. Not that big of a climb. These hills didn't bother me at all. We got to the top, running along the backside still, and then we turned into the woods and got a nice downhill into the woods. Got to the first mile, and we'll get my time here in just a second. But anyways, it's kind of sandy too near the first mile, which is, okay. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, my foot didn't like stick in there or anything. My first mile time was 6:16, which the last race I did, the Run for the Sun, it was like 6:05. So, I mean, 6:16, I mean, I thought that's pretty good. That's where I want to be. I mean, my goal for this race was to break 20:45, which I accomplished there back in like the year 2006, which is, I think this is the shirt I'm wearing is actually from 2006. So that was when I accomplished that, and I wanted to beat this time. And 2 years ago, I ran this, and I ended up actually being 1 second slower than that time. So I really wanted to beat this, really, really bad. So we're coming along, we come out of the woods, and now we're along the edge of the course, running along the tree line. You got houses to the left of us as well. So it's just like a nice big straightaway that goes on for about a quarter mile or so. And at this point, there's actually a guy in front of me actually taking selfies of himself while running. And I wasn't someone that I think that was cheering this person on, but just kind of like said really loud, like, "Hey, if you are taking selfies, you're not running fast enough." And that's what I was thinking in my head, like, what the heck is this guy doing taking selfies? I saw himself take a selfie, and then about 30 seconds later, he takes another one. I'm like, I'm gone. I'm leaving this guy in the dust. So that's what I did as I left him in the dust. So he turned and then had a nice little short straightaway and turned again and a little dip in the hill. And then we're actually back toward where the start line is. But instead of going straight toward the finish line, we turned left and then did the same loop again at that point. We ran past the start line, nice big crowd support. And I heard my song actually being played as I came out of the woods, by the way. So I was hoping it would be played like later in the race, but it was played early. That's okay, not that big of a deal. So come out of the woods, we're going back toward that hill again, and this guy comes up alongside me, and he's like, "All right, one lap to go." And I'm like, "Yes, we got this. Found out his name was Michael after the race, so we had the same name, which is cool. So we're heading toward the hill again. I'm going a little slower, but he passes me going up the hill, and I'm just like battling back and forth with this guy. And we ended up coming to the top. We go down the hill. I ended up getting back in front of him at this point. Stayed in front of him actually most of the race after that point as we're going along the backside of the course, going up the hills, going through the woods again. And actually, first off, before we continue, when we got to the 2 mile mark, it was actually just past that downhill. I had a 6:42, so I'd lost actually quite a bit of time there, more than what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe like 20 seconds, but I lost like 26 seconds. So I was thinking, oh, this isn't looking too great at this point. But then my last mile, I actually ended up kicking it up quite a bit. I ended up running like a 6:39 last mile, so 3 seconds faster than that second mile. And that's always good. If you can really bring it up in that last mile and not like fall off. I mean, I didn't feel like I was dead or I was like, dying. Like I couldn't run a fast time anymore. I didn't feel like that. I felt like I could still do this. I still had stuff left in me. And that's what I brought into that last mile. So after we went up the last few uphills and downhills and into the woods and then along the straightaway, I'm just like, okay, this is the time we got to start kicking it up here. And so I started pumping my arms and picking up my legs and picking up my speed as much as I could. And then we turned and then turned again, and this time headed straight toward the finish line. And Michael ended up passing me at this point and beat me to the finish by at least like 5 seconds, 10 seconds maybe. But that wasn't that big of a deal. I don't really have a big, strong kick at the end. I was just trying to pump and go as fast as I could. I could see the time way off in the distance. It was in the 19s when I was coming down the straightaway. So I knew that it was going to be below that 20-45 range. But I wasn't going to just like, back off and, be easy the last part. I was like, we're going hard all the way to the finish here. So I crossed the line, stopped my watch. 20:22 was my time. I smashed it by 23 seconds for my personal best at this course. Made me feel so great. I can't wait to run my next run next week, which is going to be the Impact Trail run. Going to be on trail again. Looking forward to using spikes again. This course is going to be a lot more hillier. It's basically the same course we ran the Kalamazoo Mud Run on. So I'm looking forward to running that race and coming away with a pretty good time there as well. My best time overall is 19:08. I'd like to break 20 minutes before the end of October here. But I mean, with this course going to be hilly, Campus Classic is going to be a hilly course, and I don't know what the Trick or Treat run is going to be for the Kalamazoo runners. I've never ran that course. If it's flat, I mean, there's a possibility I could break 20 minutes there. But we'll definitely see, because otherwise then you got like a couple of turkey trots and the road hog after that. And I mean, it's going to be shaky in November, I would say. But hopefully, next year I'll be hopefully breaking 20 minutes again, because I mean, just the Run for the Sun, getting 2012 again, way under 21. I mean, just made me feel so great because I'd been struggling to break 21 again. So anyways, it was a fantastic race, great time. Now all the high schoolers, they have their run now that's going on as I'm making this video. I mean, it'll probably be done by the time this video is uploaded. But good luck to all the runners, and congrats to everyone that ended up running and finishing today. So if you want to check out the Glory Days 5K some year, please do so. It's a great race, cross-country race. If you ran cross-country in high school, it's a great event to take place in. So I'll post a link to the results in the description below. I'll also post a link to the Glory Days 5K website, so you can check that out as well. I'll also post a link to my Twitter in the description below, so you can follow me on there. You can subscribe to my channel for more content if you haven't subscribed. But if you have subscribed, thank you for subscribing, and thank you for watching. This is Michael out and over and out for the Glory Days 5K run. It's off to watch the Western Michigan Broncos take on the Central Michigan Chippewas. Go Broncos!